All right, hi guys. So because today, this week's going to be a short week, there's only 3 days of school. For Eureka Math, we're just going to do a review of everything we've been covering so far. And so for today on Monday, we're just going to go over a couple of concepts, really easy concepts about fractional tenths, fractional hundredths, and decimal hundredths. So when we'll start with converting fractions to decimals. So say we have 2 tenths. I feel like most of us by now are pretty good at trying to turn this into a decimal. We look at 2 tenths and we think, well, how am I going to write that as a decimal? It comes down to place value. So say I'm going to make a little place value chart right here. Say I have the number 23, just 23. You know what? Make it hundreds. How about 423? So if I made a little place value chart with this, and I divided up each place value spot, this first one was hundreds. The second one is tens. And this is ones. So I know this 4 isn't just a 4, it's 400. This 2 isn't just a 2, it's 2 tens or 20. And this 3 it's 3 because it's 3 ones. 1, 2, 3. And if we kept going, when we keep going down, because now we're getting into numbers smaller than 1. So the next place value smaller than 1 is tenths. That's 10 with a th, tenths. That's a really bad th. So if I wanted to put 2 tenths on the place value, it would just literally just look like this. I'll make another one down here. Make a new one. This is just our decimal spot. This is our tenth spot. So if I'm trying to put this number into this place value chart, how many hundreds do I have? Well, 0, because I know this number is less than 1. So there's no hundreds. There's 0 tens. There's 0 ones. Bring our decimal down. How many tenths do I have? Easy to look at that. 2. So then it's easy to see the number, 0.2. So that first place after the decimal is the tenths place. Now say I want to convert a fraction in the hundredths. We'll do 45. Now we're going to add another section to our place value. So we have hundreds, tens, ones, decimal, tenths, then hundredths with a th. So it's just the space after tenths, or 2 spaces after the decimal. So I'll make a new one down here. Really hard to draw straight lines on this. If I have 45 hundredths, a fraction, we're looking at this fraction, I already know it's less than 1. So we definitely have 0 hundreds, 0 tens, 0 ones. This is where it gets a little tricky, because I have 45 hundredths. It might make sense just to put the 45 in here, in the hundredths place, but that's not really what we do. So that first digit, the 4, that's actually going to go in the tenths. And then that second digit, the 5, is going to go in the hundredths. So we can see the number here, 0.45, 45 hundredths. So hundredths are 2 spaces after the decimal. But the reason that 4, that goes in the tenths, is because of this idea that one of the first ideas we studied. 1/10 equals 10 hundredths. So what does that mean? Do you remember when we took tens out of the hundredths? So how many tens could we take out of here? We could take 10, 20, 30, 40, or 4 tenths. So we could take 4 tenths. I'm going to show you that on the number line. But so just remember, hundredths is the second place, but that first digit in the hundredths, that always goes here. So technically this number, 0.45, it's 45 hundredths, or we could say it's 4 tenths in 5 hundredths. And I'll show you why that's true. Go to a new blank page. All right, I'm going to try to make a tape diagram. Actually, that's pretty good. 0 to 1, and we want to split this up into tenths. This is 0 tenths. Sorry, I'm going quick. I have to try to keep these short. All right, we still got plenty of time. Never mind. This 1 whole is 10 tenths. And so, well, where's 5 tenths? 5 tenths is going to be in the middle. Then each little mark we make is going to be, we're going to make 10 tenths. So 1 tenth, 2 tenth, 3 tenth, 4 tenth. There's 5. 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths, 10 tenths. So there's our 10 tenths. Now, where's 1 tenth on here? Because remember, we said 1 tenth equals 10 hundredths. So 1 tenth is on here. Oh, geez. Just ignore that little dot there. 1 tenth is going to be right here. This would be 2 tenths, 3 tenths, and so on. So that means because we know this is true right here, 1 tenth equals 10 hundredths. Because we know this, we already know this is true. We know that 10 100ths is going to be here. Oh, jeez. Just going to cross that out so we can focus on the 10 hundredths, but that's still 0. So 1 tenth is here, 10 hundredths is also here. But why is that true? Well, how many tenths does it take to get to 10 tenths? And that's an easy question. 10, right? All these little, each one of these squares is a tenth. And we have 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, how many 10 hundredths does it take to also get to 1 whole? And 1 whole in hundredths is going to be not 10 tenths, but 100 hundredths. How many 10 hundredths would it take to get to 100 hundredths? And you're probably thinking, well, that might be easy. Maybe you're confused at that, but how many tens would it take to count to 100? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. It would take 10 hundredths if we added 10 hundredths 10 times. Say we kept adding these. That would be 20. And then say we kept going all the way till we got to 100 hundredths. Or 1 whole. It would take 10 of these. 10 hundredths. And what that would look like on this tape diagram is, say we had each one of these tenth boxes. We would split each one of these tenth boxes into 10, I can't draw them that small and close, but 10 little lines. And each of those little lines would be 100th. And to get to 1/10 of where we were before, which was this, I'll draw this line a little thicker. To get to that 1/10 line, it would take 10 of those little hundredths. And then if we kept going, it would take another 10 hundredths, another 10 hundredths, another 10 hundredths, another 10 hundredths. So by here at 5 hundredths, we would have 50 hundredths, or 50 of those little lines. And say we kept going, we kept drawing the little lines, and this whole thing had 100 lines on it. We would have made all the hundreds. But the point is, where that 1/10 is, it's equal to 10 hundredths. And we know that's true because it takes 10 1/10ths. It takes 10 1/10ths if we added them to get to 10 tenths, or 1 whole. Say we kept going. I only did 2 there, but say we kept adding all those. That's an addition sign. It takes 10 1/10ths to get to 10 tenths. And look back down here, it takes 10 100ths to get to 100 100ths. And 100 100ths, 10 tenths are the same number, right? They both equal to 1. So it takes 10 1/10ths and 10 hundredths. But there's another way we know that these two are equal. But there's another way we know that these are equal. One of the easiest ways that we all know. That's by multiplying. What do I need to multiply 1/10 by to get my denominator to 100th? 10 times 10. That means we'd have to do the numerator too. 10 times 10 is 100. 1 times 10 is 10. So 1/10 is equal to 10 hundredths. And so that's why when you draw a number, like say we have 45 hundredths, and we want to make this a decimal, that's why that 4 goes in the tenths place. And then that 5 is in the hundredths place. So yes, we have 45 hundredths, or we have 4 10/100ths, 4 tenths, and 5 hundredths. That's because we could take 10 100ths out, 10 100ths out, another 10 100ths out, and then another 10 100ths out to get 40. To be 10, 20, 30, 40 hundredths. And we know that each one of these is equal to a tenth. So we could also say that it's 4 tenths, which is why we put that here. And then what's left over? 5 hundredths. So I hope that makes sense. This will be your work today. Pretty easy. We're just doing some counting by tenths and hundredths. It's not moving. Just doing some counting by tenths and hundredths. And then converting fractions to decimals, decimals to fractions. And then try to answer this question the best you can in Google Docs, because I know we can't really draw. So try to figure out how to show that. It'll probably make more sense to do it one way than the other. I'm not going to say more than that, but how can you prove that 1/10 is equal to 10 hundredths? So give those a shot. That'll be in your Google Classroom. I can access Google Classroom now, so I'll be able to check out your guys' work, and I'll be available most of the day on the computer. You guys can ask me any questions you need. All right, good luck.